It's time for From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine with Trey Schaap. A golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around, trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Shortgrass is presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, and brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. By Beechwood Hospitality, we partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Shortgrass, here's your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey Schaap. Coming up on this edition of From the Shortgrass, I sit down with Pat Perez, former PGA professional golfer, now a LIV Golf commentator. He last played on the LIV Golf League. He was not re-signed to the 2025 LIV Golf League, but he still is part of LIV. He is an on-course reporter for the broadcast of the LIV tournaments. He played his collegiate golf at Arizona State University, and he won 3 times on the PGA Tour. Pat Perez, his first win on the PGA Tour came at the Bob Hope Classic, where he hit his second shot on the par 5 18th hole in the final round from 200 yards to 3 feet to win with a closing eagle for his first Tour victory. What was it like growing up in the era of Tiger Woods? Well, Pat Perez met Tiger Woods at the age of 8. You're going to hear more about that after the break. UAMS Ortho Now is now open. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS. For more info, call 501-686-TOSH. I'm back with Pat Perez. Stay with us.
The next time you travel to El Dorado and need overnight accommodations, the Haywood Hotel is where you need to stay. The Haywood El Dorado Tapestry Collection by Hilton is a great place to stay if you're in South Arkansas, listening to live music or playing the challenging Mystic Creek Golf Club. Take time and relax in their bar for a drink before going out on the town for dinner. The Haywood, 210 South Washington, right in the heart of downtown El Dorado. Search the Haywood El Dorado on the web or call 800-293-0718 for reservations. The Haywood, a Beechwood hospitality property.
I'm Dr. Lowry Barnes. When it comes to orthopedic care, there's no place like the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. We built this hospital just for you, with state-of-the-art surgical suites, advanced technology, and the state's largest group of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons. It's the best place in Arkansas to get you moving again. And if you need urgent orthopedic care, UAMS Ortho Now is right here for you at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, where motion lives and service leads.
At Stevens, our philosophy is to invest every dollar as if it were our own, to seize opportunity, to anticipate rather than react, to deliver constant focus in an ever-changing world, and to pursue the objectives of our clients in order to help them reach their financial goals. A proven history of helping companies and individuals. Stevens, member NYSE SIPC. Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey Schaap. Patrick Anthony Perez, born in Phoenix, Arizona, moved to California early on in life and grew up there and learned the game of golf. Also ran into a golfer you might have heard of, Tiger Woods. Met him at a young age. You're going to hear more about that in just a matter of minutes. Plus, how Pat Perez made it to the PGA Tour and to LIV Golf. On the tee, Pat Perez. Pat, thanks for joining me on this edition of From the Shortgrass. Do you remember, born in Phoenix, the first time you ever picked up a golf club?
Oh, I was with my dad. My dad got into it. He wanted to marry my mom, and my grandma was a golfer. And, he said when he came back from Nam, wanted to marry my mom, you're going to have to learn how to play golf. So I can't remember if I was born in Phoenix, but we moved to Pasadena when I was about 3. And I remember going to a course, I can't remember the name of it, it's near Dodger Stadium. I can't remember the hell. I think Griffith Park is the name of it. And I kind of remember a little bit of that. But, then we moved up. We moved more south down to Carlsbad, and I remember playing my first tournaments for junior golf. And San Diego Junior Golf had the best program around the nation. I mean, we had 40-something tournaments, all divisions, 8 to 10, 11, 12, and all the way up to 17. We had Junior World, which so many stars played. You look at it now, like Ernie Els and Tiger, obviously, and Justin Leonard and Retief Goose, and all these incredible players around the world were juniors and played all these tournaments. But that was about it. And so I won my first tournament at 7. And a place called Rancho Carlsbad, which was a mile down the street. And, I just kind of played, and I tried other sports in high school, and I tried football. I didn't like that at all. And
you get beat up playing football.
We had this drill where there's this guy named Greg. He was 6'4", and I'm looking over at him. You're about 25 yards apart, and you're staring at each other, and then you meet in the middle like a V. And I like this guy, and I'm telling coach, I'm like, dude, look at the size of this guy. I mean, believe it or not, I was only like 145 pounds at freshman year. This guy's like 6'4", 210. I'm like, what are we doing? And he's over there licking his chops, right? And we come in the middle, and he's smiling as big as he can, and he hits me, and I get up, and I fired my helmet, and I said, I'm out of here. This is ridiculous. So I tried that. That didn't work. And then I played, me and my caddy actually for my entire career played 1 and 2 on the team. And then he's a smart one. He went to UCSD, and I went to Arizona State. But I don't really remember a lot about kind of when I started, but it was young. I mean, my dad said he put a club in my hand about 3.
But then you were competing, at the earliest, winning at 7 and then competing with the likes of an Ernie Els. I mean, Tiger Woods.
I met Tiger at 8.
Yeah.
At Presidio Hills. He had his glasses and his dad had never left his side. And, even then, when I'd watch him, 8 through 10 at Presidio Hills, you could just tell Tiger was different.
What was it about it?
He was just different. He just played different, and nobody could really pinpoint because at 10 you're not like, oh my God, that guy's gonna be a world beater or whatever. You just knew that he was better than you. And then 11 and 12 he was, and then he won in every division. He won 7 times junior world, and you just couldn't beat him, And then obviously the junior AM and then the AM. It's just he was just one of those guys. Back then we didn't think about golf the way 13-year-olds think about it today, with trainers and nutritionists and all this other crap that's going on. These kids are thinking about it, which is why they're so much better than our generation back in the day. I mean, we went to school, we played golf, and then you went to college.
But Pat, it wasn't cool back in the day.
No, it's far. It's the game has totally changed from back in the day. Tiger changed the aspect as far as wanting to be great, but he also changed it as far as golfer's physique, right? I mean, he worked his ass off day in, day out. He looked great. He was great. He had the most speed of anybody. He was just, it was almost unreal. Like he was like a robot or something. He was just incredible.
So you go to Arizona State. What was your time like there?
Fuzzy. Fuzzy. We won a national championship 96 at the honors course, which was amazing. That we had a great time
over in Tennessee.
Yep. School wasn't all that important, but even in college, you didn't really think about turning pro. I'll never forget we were at the clubhouse there at ASU, and Tiger and I are 2 months apart. So, he's 20 and he announced that he's going pro, and I'm thinking, God, I mean, he's so good, but can he go out with those pros? Like, how's he going to do? Everybody kind of thought that, right? As a 20-year-old kid, obviously the famous interview with Curtis Strange, those guys didn't think he could play or at least compete with the pros, and obviously turn everybody upside down. But he just didn't think about it. Everyone went to college. You went for 4 days or 4 years, and then you thought about what you were going to do. Now these kids are thinking about 11, 12, 13, 14. They're trying to get paid in college, and then they're going to go to college for how long, and then it's get to the show.
Pat, I've heard a story about Tiger's time when he was at Stanford that the football team was returning from a game, and it was nighttime, and their buses had to drive by the driving range at Stanford to get to their football facility. It's raining. The lights are on. Tiger Woods is out there hitting golf balls.
I believe it. Casey Martin told me a story. He never seen a kid hit an entire day's worth of balls, and his divot pattern was only about 9 inches wide. They were just picked perfectly. I played 36 hole with him at Stanford my last year. We played 36, and he was tired because he said the dorm rooms that he couldn't get any sleep because everybody was partying all night, and he didn't party. So But we played 36 holes. It was awesome. I mean, even then, that's when I kind of really get to know him. And I didn't realize he was going to turn pro the next year, but he's just different. I mean, he was just, there's so many good kids today with such big speed and all this other stuff. But he really changed the game. I mean, he was the absolute pioneer of working out all day and night. You've heard about his routines about, from 6 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, day in, day out. And that is really what it takes. You have to be, I'm not calling him selfish, but you have to be completely selfish with your time if you're going to be as great as he was. And I just, personally, I don't see another person ever being. I mean, I know Scotty has played incredible and, we've got some, nice stuff going on, but there's just, in my opinion, there's just not going to be another one of him. In every generation, I'm sure Jack said the same thing. The Jack's generation, and maybe there will. I don't know if in my lifetime. I'm sure Scotty's going to win a ton of tournaments. He's a phenomenal player.
But he's got a ways to go before he can stay. He's got to stay up there at number one for several more years.
And that's the thing. Even like with Phil. Phil went against Tiger his whole career, but Phil has a stat that a lot of people don't know. That I don't even know if it's going to have. That one will ever happen again. He was top 50 for 30 years, and then won a major in the 30th year. I mean, Phil's got 46 wins, 6 majors, 6 USN, 6 US Open second places. Who even knows how many top 5s and majors? But because he played in Tiger's era, it's not looked away from, but it's hard to believe, And Phil will tell you he loves that Tiger was in his generation because it pushed him so much more,
no doubt,
to be great because he knew Tiger was not going to falter. I mean, look at VJ. VJ won 9 times in 1 year. Like when that going to happen again?
Probably never.
And Scotty won 7, with the gold medal. Most amazing year. But 9 is a different deal. Now, VJ was another absolute workaholic. Another one, I'm not trying to say selfish with his time, but a guy that was 100% determined to be the best player on the planet and didn't stop for 1 minute during the year to be that best player. That's what it is. That's what
dedication.
It is. I don't think the kids of today understand really the generation that I grew up playing with, the Ernie Els and Retief Goossens and Justin Leonard and, Fred Couples and Davis Love and, all these major winners. We had a ton of major winners, just phenomenal players that I grew up playing with. And, first I would watch and then, obviously Phil and Tiger, my generation. But Tiger basically changed the game. It's amazing to see today all these kids out here that have this 190, 192 cruising ball speed with a driver. I just can't get over it. I cannot get over it. Watching these kids with this speed. It's amazing.
When did you know, obviously watching Tiger turn pro in 97, when did you know you wanted to be a professional?
I really didn't until I got out of school. Me and Coach got kind of into a pissing match in 97. He didn't like the way I did things. I didn't like the way he did things. So we parted ways, and I said, okay, cool. I'll go play golf. So I signed up. This is funny enough because Father's Day, my dad gave me. This is amazing. So my first professional event was a tour called Golden State Tour in San Diego. Doug Eisram. It was at a place called Temecula Creek, and I come in. I entered. It was like $200 to enter, and I got no money. I've got nothing, right? Yep. So I come in, and the guy goes, this guy named Kyle Davis. I'll never forget. He goes, "Hey, what'd you shoot?" I said 67. He goes, "You won." I go, "No, bitch, really?" Really? And he goes, so Doug asked me, he goes, "Are you pro or amateur?" I said, "Well, how much is the check?" He goes, $500. I said, "I'm pro."
No doubt.
I'm pro. I was almost retired. So 2 days later, it was a 2-day up at Chino Hills, and I won that one. It was $2,500. And so in 4 days, I've made $3,000. I didn't have $3, So that was kind of, but my dad somehow found, he made an imprint, or he made a copy of the check, my first check from 1997. And it was the day he gave it to me was Father's Day this year, was the day I won my first professional event.
Sweet.
So he gave me the check, and he had a copy and had it framed for me. It says Pat Perez, $500 signed by Doug Eyes. I couldn't believe he had it or found it. It was amazing. It just brought me back all the way back. And that's when I kind of thought, okay, well, we'll try this. But again, I'm playing against a ton of mini tour players that are all, anywhere from 20 to 40. that are just, you talk about journeyman, guys trying to pay rent and, pay for their car not to break down. There's no money back then. But then I got a call from, so I actually started working for, because I needed more money. So I started working for Gary Adams, who started TaylorMade. And I was driving him around, but then I would take clubs. He started a new company called McHenry Metals. So I would drive a van to Long Beach and back twice a day. And then I'd pick him up at work and I'd take him home and I'd go home. And then after a while, I had a friend of mine, he called my dad and said, look, he goes, we're wasting time here and energy. We got to do something here. So he goes, I want to sponsor your son. I think he can do it. Let's give it a try. So he gave me money. I went to Q school up in Kamloops in Canada. I got my Canadian tour card. All excited. Come back up, come home, start the Canadian tour. I made like 7,000 Canadian that summer. Didn't really do well, which at the time the dollar was 172. But then I went to Q school in 99 and I finished like 140th. So I had conditional status on the Buy.com tour. So come to it, I still had Canadian tour status. The next summer I drive all the way up to Vancouver and I get a call on Monday from the tour, PGA Tour. It said, hey, you're in, but the tournament's in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so now I'm in Vancouver with my car. I can't leave it there because I'll never see it again. And I go, all right. So I'm in the practice round, and I got this guy caddying me. I said, I think his name is John. I said, John, I got to go. I got to go. So I drove all the way down. I slept an hour in the car on the side of the street, drove 20 hours back down to San Diego. I got home Tuesday night, packed, got on the first flight Wednesday. It was like a 2-stopper. I didn't have any money, so I had a 2-stopper. I get to Scranton at like 9 p.m. Tee off at 7:30 the next morning, Thursday, for my first Buy.com event. I didn't make the cut,
but what a story!
Yeah, but that was kind of how I started. And then 4 weeks later, I finished fourth in Wichita, made $17,000.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And then in 2000, I won the Ozarks, and I just missed my tour card there. But then I went to Q school that December, and I won Q school.
And then your first win on the PGA Tour, Bob Hope.
Yeah,
was your first later. 36 holes, Pat, 20 under par.
Yeah, I think it's been matched a couple of times, but I think it was for different pars though. But
you shot 61, 63, I believe, right?
Yeah, 61, 63.
What was working for you that day? Do you remember?
I just putted better than anybody. Every tournament I won, I just putted better than everybody. I was number one in putting. I just, like Mayakoba at Paspalum, and then
I love Mayakoba.
It's one of my favorites of all time. And then I won in Malaysia, and that was the same thing. For whatever reason, I can read those greens and I can putt them. And some guys putt great in Bermuda or Poana, but for some reason that kind of green was my absolute favorite. And
what greens do you like putting on the most?
Those, but obviously they're not in Scottsdale. So we get that perfect bent in we get perfect fast. Silverleaf gets them about 13.5, 14 in the winter. So they're just mint. They're just awesome.
You're out here. You played on the LIV Golf.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, starting something new, a new tour and everything, if you will.
It was fun. I had a phenomenal time on the PGA Tour. That's where I got my start, obviously, and my phenomenal opportunity that everybody gets to play there. And I played 21 years, and all of a sudden now I'm 46. I'm struggling week in, week out on 7-week stretches, and just not playing that great. And thinking, Jesus, can this be the end? Can this be it? What am I going to do until I turn 50, to try to play the Champions Tour? And, DJ, I was at dinner Memorial, and DJ called me from London. He said, hey, I got a deal coming for you. And, what do you think? I said, dude, I don't know. I said, is that thing going to last? It was everyone's question, right? Is it going to last? I mean, this is going to be the end of it for me on the tour. I need a minute, so, I don't know. I really couldn't beat anybody. I was just so tired of the grind and the struggle that I had put in for so long. And I've seen some of my friends still on the PGA Tour that are doing week in, week out, and just not playing well. And I thought, well, that could have been me. And I don't know. I made a decision. Again, the PGA Tour was phenomenal. I had a blast with it. I still got a lot of friends from it, and thanks for the opportunity and everything. But this just came along. I'm thinking 14 events. I got 2 young kids at the time. I had a 4 and 2-year-old, and I had already missed my son's birth, and I almost missed my daughter's birth, and I missed a couple birthdays. I'm thinking, God, there's got to be more to it than just chasing this thing. It's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Playing golf professionally is phenomenal. There are a lot of sacrifices that people don't know, and they'll say, "Oh, you're poor you" and all that, but it's not that. It's just like I want to be a dad as well, and
Well, and there are times, Pat, of you're basically living out of a suitcase.
That's what it is. And when you're playing bad, unfortunately, you have to keep playing more. You're trying to find it the next Monday or Tuesday after missing a cut. Because you're flying Southwest and you're, staying at dumps and all this. I mean, because you're just not making anything. So it's hard. I always tell everybody the same thing because I got so much grief for leaving all this. I said, when you do what I've done, when you play as long as I have, and you get something like that thrown in front of you, you can make a decision for yourself. And that's the thing. I got all kinds of ridicule and I mean, I don't want to say threats, but some real nasty stuff.
And now you're part of the broadcast team for LIV. What's it like being on the other side of the game, but still inside the ropes for Pat Perez?
It's fun. It really is. I wish I was still playing, but that time is kind of gone for now. But I tell everybody the same thing. It's kind of like a perfect midlife break for me. I'm 49. I'm hoping to play some golf next year, maybe somewhere, hopefully the Champion Tour or whatever. But when I go home now, I get to have with my kids every minute that I'm home. Usually in a 2-week break, you take about 5 days off. You catch up on whatever you have to catch up on. But then you got to start grinding again. Because if you're going to beat John Rahm or Bryson DeChambeau or Brooks or these guys, you better be on top of your game. And even still then, you might not beat them. But you got to be ready. Now when I go home for 2 weeks, I'm home for 2 weeks, and I get to do whatever I want. And I've had more time with the kids this year than I've ever had. So, when I got done last August, up until now, it's been phenomenal. I've had such great time with them that I've missed over, my daughter's going to be 7 this year. I mean, I've missed 3/4 of her life being on the road. Again, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not a poor me thing. It's just what the job calls for. But now I get to make up for it. So, I'm in a good position this year. Because I love doing the TV. The crew is phenomenal. I still get to be around my boys.
And you've got some quick wit too, so you can hang with David Faraday, can't you?
Yeah, I kind of watch my P's and Q's a little bit. I could get arrested or shot for some things I say, I'm sure, but no, but I love it because the boys are like, oh, are you going to wear me out? I said, no, it's not really what I'm here to do, because everyone always asks, do you wear them out? I said, well, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the crowd. I'm talking to the fans, right? So it's not like I'm going after them. Like, one-on-one, I'm talking about their shots. But, I think I bring enough knowledge, and I've played with all these guys so many times that it's very comfortable for me because I know everyone's game. And I know what they're thinking. And being a player for so long, I know what their situations are. I know, I only won 3 times on the tour, but I know what it takes to close it. And so I know what these guys are thinking coming down the stretch, which makes it fun on Sunday to paint the picture of what's going on in each shot for what they have to do to try to close the deal.
Do you think next year, U.S. Senior Open, Senior PGA, Senior British Open?
Yeah, I'm hoping to play the majors. I was top 50 all time when I left, so I don't know. I don't know what the landscape of golf's going to look like in 7 months. But I turn 50 next March, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with both sides, and I'm hoping to be able to play. It would be phenomenal. But I'm still going to do TV because I do enjoy it. It's a nice break, because I'm not even, I can't beat these guys, but I'd love the opportunity to go play against some of the guys I played against, really my whole life on the other tour.
How much do you get to play now?
I haven't played in 3 months. I haven't even, just because I'm 9 months from turning 50.
Yeah.
I don't have anything on my schedule to play. So, and again, if I go play 3, 4, 5 days a week, I'm missing more time with my kids again. It's like, Daddy, what are you going to play golf for? Oh, I'm going to go have some drinks and play golf for nothing. Or I can swim with them or teach them, school or whatever it is, helping them grow into, into great people. That's what my goal is now. I mean, I'm 49. I've been on the road for, 29 years basically now. So, and I've got 2 young ones that need me, and I'm trying to be really the greatest dad I can and give them all the support and love I can.
You've played all over the world. Best golf course you've ever played?
That's a good question. Everyone asks me that. I never really have an answer.
Sometimes, Pat, when I talk to champions, they say, well, it's the one I won on.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, as much as I love Mayakoba, it's not the greatest course I've ever played. I think some of the most underrated golf that, I don't know, maybe because I don't really read or watch anything, but I think Long Island golf I would put up against anything. Sabonic, Friars Head, National, Shinnecock. I played a course out there called the Bridge I mean, the Atlantic Club, that Long Island golf is so cool. Because I never really, you grew up in San Diego. I don't really get out to Long Island. Plus, I don't have any money. I didn't have any money to get out there. But you have to start meeting members. And the fact that there's such private clubs, a lot of people don't know unless you get invited by a member, obviously. But that stretch of golf, I would put against anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It is so good. I don't know. I mean, Shinnecock was great until the USGA got a hold of it, kind of. But nonetheless, that area is just phenomenal. I never really spent that much time there. And I kind of spent a little bit of time over 3 summers. And I said, God, this place is amazing up here.
It's
absolutely
fantastic.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You're out in the middle of the ocean and you got all these courses. The first time I played Sabonic, I couldn't get over it.
It's fantastic.
I mean, everything was just. But I don't know. Best course. I don't have a. I mean, everyone says Augusta. I think Augusta is absolutely probably the pinnacle of the game in my opinion. But I don't know. Like I think the greatest view in the whole game of golf is the back of 17 tee at Cypress.
Yeah, not
the most
bad.
gorgeous view. You see Pebble over there. The view. I just think it's the greatest view in the world.
Fantasy foursome, living or deceased. You and 3 others that you could play around a golf with. Who would they be?
Right now, it'd be my dad again. He's 80. My brother died 2 years ago. I would love to see his face for even 3 more minutes again. And it'd probably be my 2 kids. I would make that. I'd make it a 5-ball if I could ever do anything. Because I don't know if my kids will play golf or not. But me and my dad, my brother didn't get to play enough growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back at it now, I miss my brother more than anything, and I would kill to have just one more 18 holes. If I could get him back for 6 hours and play like a Pebble Beach or something anywhere, it doesn't even matter. Just that would be my deal because I play with some. There's so many great players, and there's so many obviously phenomenal people in the world. I mean, I play with Michael Jordan. He's the coolest guy on the planet. But I'd love to have my brother back and play with my dad one more time, and that would be awesome.
That would be. Pat, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Dr. Lowry Barnes. When it comes to orthopedic care, there's no place like the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. We built this hospital just for you, with state-of-the-art surgical suites, advanced technology, and the state's largest group of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons. It's the best place in Arkansas to get you moving again. And if you need urgent orthopedic care, UAMS Ortho Now is right here for you at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, where motion lives and service leads.
From Central Arkansas to South Arkansas to Northeast Arkansas, across the state to Northwest Arkansas, you will find a Beechwood hospitality property. From the Haywood in El Dorado to the Hilton Garden in Jonesboro to the Doubletree in Bentonville and the Staybridge Suites just south of Baumwalker Stadium, Beechwood Hospitality has a room for you. Beechwood Hospitality is the leader in hotel property management in the state. Make sure you find a Beechwood Hospitality hotel for your next overnight stay.
The future is not about a bond reaching maturity. The future is what my grandfather worked for. It's what my father carried on. It's my responsibility today. The future is my son's tomorrow. At the Stevens Private Client Group, we believe that our strength builds success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
Welcome back to From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. Don't forget Beechwood Hospitality. When you need an overnight place to stay, make sure you're staying at a Beechwood Hospitality hotel. Matthew Allen and Blair Allen. They know how to manage hotel properties, Beechwood Hospitality. Make sure you're following From the Shortgrass on YouTube. We're going to start posting videos on our YouTube channel, and you want to be sure you're following it so that you can see some of the most up-to-date videos that we put out. From the Shortgrass on YouTube, make sure you go subscribe to it today. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Shortgrass.
You have been listening to From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network in association with Majestic Cubby Productions.